Okay. The next topic is function application and mapping. So here, if instead of the regular arithmetic operations that we just talked about, multiplication, division, power, and so on, instead you want a little more involved computation, okay, and you want to apply it to each of the elements in the data frame. So that more involved operation can be set up as a function, and then that function can be applied to each element, and that is done by what is called mapping. Okay. So let's again define a new let's start with random seed 0, df1 is data frame. We want np random and rand int, rand integer. Say we want -20 to 40, and we want it to be 4 by 3. Okay, 4 rows and 3 columns, and we want the columns to be list BDE, and the index to be that. Okay, I'm going to just copy that and paste it here. Okay, you can, here it is going in as a tuple, which will work too, or it can be a list. Okay. All right, so we have a data frame. Of course, when you do NP, okay, so when you use the NumPy U functions, okay, not the arithmetic functions that we went through, like df1.add or df1.mul. So now we are using NP function, so it starts with NumPy functions should start with NP. So when you do NP, say ABS, now this is going to be a universal function, which means it's going to iterate over all the columns, all the rows, and apply that function to all elements. So all the negatives now become positive because I'm using the ABS function. Now there are, okay, if I do EXP, then this will apply the e to the power exponential function. So it will create e to the power of all of them. And there is a bunch of these NumPy operations that are there, and I'm not going to go through all of them. But let's look at the apply method. Say, suppose we want the range of each column. Okay, so we can define a function, and to find the range, it's a very simple function. Therefore, we can do this in a lambda function. So for a lambda function, remember we did it long time ago. The first element, the elements before the colon are the inputs. So x is an input coming in, and we're going to feed it each column of the data frame. So each iteration, x will be a column of numbers. So we can then say x dot max, that will give you the maximum value, minus x dot min. Okay, so that will be the range function for us. Okay. Now, if you want to use that function, we have to say df1 dot apply. So that means you're going to take df1 and feed it to the lambda function. I mean RF, not f. Oh, I have a typo there. Okay, so takes each column and then finds the range. I'm sorry, each row and finds the so the axis equal to 0 is the default. You can apply this to df1 dot apply RF, okay, axis equal to 1. Remember, axis equal to 1, you can also say axis equal to columns. That also will work. And we can have function that can return more than just one number. So here in this function, the returned value was just one number, right? The range, the result of the lambda function. But we can return more than one number. So for example, suppose if we wanted a series, right? Okay, so we define a function for that. Okay, this is not a lambda function. Okay. So then we have to return PD series, and what do we want to return? We want to return PD series of, okay, so it should be in parentheses. Okay, we want to return a list. I'm sorry, we want to take a list, convert it into a pandas series, and return the pandas series back. And what we want is the input is x. So what is the minimum of x? Okay. Parenthesis is needed. And the maximum. Okay. And we can give an index like that. So this is a function, okay, so that it takes in x, all right, and it calculates two values. That's the reason why we cannot do this with lambda. Lambda will return just one value automatically. You want to calculate two values and return those two values as a series. So it takes the two values, sets up a series with index and everything, and then it returns that series. Okay. So now if you do df1 dot apply f, so it gives you, okay, so it goes like this. For the first column, the min and the max. For the second column, min and the max. The third column, min and the max. Okay. Of Because if you do the other way, like if you did df1 apply, f(x) is equal to 1, okay. Now that will look at the columns and say, for the first row, look at all the columns and then find the min and then the max.